as Daesh fights to hold Ramadi. A new report from the think tank IHS says Daesh has lost a significant amount of territory this year. Now, at the beginning of 2015, Daesh held large parts of northern Syria and northern Iraq and Syria, including cities like Mosul, Raqqa, and Ramadi. Daesh made substantial gains, mainly in Syria, where it seized Palmyra and parts of Aleppo province. But now Daesh has lost about 14% of its territory. It saw major losses in northern Syria as well as in central Iraq. Michael O'Hanlon, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institution, joins us for more on this. Michael, thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to the program. Now, in the fight against Daesh, how important is it for the Iraqi forces to retake Ramadi?
Well, it's crucial because it's a major city in Anbar province, as you know, and it's also the logical first step towards retaking Mosul, which will be even more demanding. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that Mosul is 4 to 5 times as populous as Ramadi. And of course, it's a somewhat more complicated ethnic mix as well. And that plays both ways. That makes it both easier and harder at the same time, if you see what I mean. It'll be a population that's at least partly happy to be liberated, but also a population that doesn't have any one clear allegiance or affiliation. So if Mosul will ultimately be liberated, I think Ramadi will be the necessary previous step. And also, we just need to put Daesh on the defensive. Their ability to recruit around the world, to attract followers, to inspire attacks, all these things remain potent. And I'm afraid their narrative of apocalyptic victory is still something that they can find people to believe. And the best way to defeat the narrative is to defeat Daesh on the battlefield.
Okay, let's stay with that, Michael. Is the tide turning then?
Well, I think that's a little early to say. You quoted the report estimating that perhaps 15% of territory that ISIL used to control has now been taken back from it. And I've seen those kinds of estimates elsewhere. But those are primarily in areas that were mixed, that were partly Kurdish, or that otherwise were not in the center of Daesh's stronghold. And even though they've lost a little bit of ground geographically, they've gained supporters in Nigeria, in Libya, in Afghanistan, in the Sinai. These kinds of trends have worked to their advantage in the last few months, and they continue to recruit foreign jihadists at an even greater rate in 2015 than in 2014 or 2013. Okay. So I'm not quite ready to say the tide has turned in a systematic way. And that's all the more reason why the liberation of Ramadi is important, to send a message that perhaps the tide will at least begin to turn very soon.
All right, talking of the liberation of Ramadi, 2 districts have been retaken. How much of this can be accredited to support given by U.S. forces?
Well, you know, I think we're playing an important role, but it's very much a secondary role. The Iraqis are doing the hard part. They're on the ground. They're doing the street fighting. They're taking the casualties. I haven't heard any reports of American casualties in this fighting. So we are certainly playing an important role technologically. But in the most difficult part of the actual operations on the ground, and that's certainly the centerpiece of this effort, I give complete credit to the Iraqis themselves, and you know, we're playing a helpful advisory and supporting role, but not a central combat role.
All right, Michael O'Hanlon, a senior fellow from the Brookings Institution. Thank you very much for joining us.